Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kimbo's Comfort Kitchen. And today we are going to do bacon jam. It's kind of a cross between a jam and a chutney. For those of you that aren't familiar with chutneys, fine chutney would be something like HP sauce, if you want to really think of it in those terms. This particular condiment, I love it on so many things. I love it on pork chops, I love it on steaks, I love it on burgers. But the next recipe I'm going to do right after this one is for grilled cheese sandwich, which is with Havarti and bacon jam, believe it or not. And it's outstanding. Sometimes the weirdest combos are the best. So it takes a bit of time to make, but you can make a batch of it and it'll last for a couple weeks in the fridge, so it's not a big deal. And you can even freeze it. It freezes well. Mine usually doesn't last that long. So let's get going and make some Jack Daniel's blueberry bacon jam. It's fun. All right, so let's review. We've got blueberries. These are wild blueberries that are frozen and very good, but obviously you can't get them year round. And I've got bacon, onions. Did I mention bacon? Onions, garlic, brown sugar. You can use another sweetener if you want. If you like maple syrup, that works well. And then I've got chipotle, smoked chipotle. And I've got Jack Daniel's, a star. And I've got apple cider vinegar and balsamic vinegar and Maggi sauce. So we're going to start first with the bacon. And I'm going to show you how to make bacon bits properly. I know, there's an actual way to make bacon bits properly. Alright, let's go. Let's get started with the bacon. I'm going to slice this up ahead of time before I cook it. Now, some people like a really fine bacon jam. I like mine to be chunky, but either way, I pre-chop mine, and I'll show you why in a second when I cook it. This is a double smoked bacon, thick bacon. It's pretty fatty, but I'm going to use this fat with the onions as well. So you can see basically how we're going to get this done. Oh, sorry about that. And I'll just dice this up. You get the picture, and we'll move along. Okay, so here's how we start. I've just put this pan on, and I put some water in the bottom, and I put bacon that you saw me dice earlier. That's in the pan. I'm going to let this heat up gradually to a boil. I'm going to keep this on high heat. I want the water to actually boil off, and as soon as the water boils off, you'll be able to hear that with the sound. It'll go from kind of a bubbling noise with the water, and it will change when you hear it that it's all gone and it's now cooking the fat. And you want to do this because it allows all of these pieces to cook evenly, and it will render the fat down too later so that we can separate that out and leave mostly the protein behind just for the bacon jam. I am going to reserve the fat afterwards to cook my diced onions in, simply because when I'm caramelizing the onions, I love them caramelized in bacon fat. Don't freak out. A lot of that bacon fat is going to be drained away at the end of the day, but you'll see what I'm talking about as we go along. All right, so I'm going to just let this start to boil, and then we'll come back just about the time when the water's gone and we're switching over, and then I have to reduce the heat. All right, so I'm just doing a snapshot here. You can see the water boiling with the bacon in it. I know, again, it sounds or seems kind of counterintuitive, but I'm just going to let this reduce, and I'll snap back here when I can see that the water's gone and we're now just frying. Alright, so this has been going for about 12 minutes to cook off all the water. I know it seems weird, but now what we're left with is all of this bacon, which has been basically poached evenly. in water, and you can start to hear, if I shut up for a second, you can start to hear it's actually frying. Hold on. Hear that? That's frying. So now I'm going to turn the heat down from high to half, and I'm going to let this cook off a lot more slowly. The whole idea is to get the bacon to cook evenly, reduce all the fat out of it as much as possible, which is what happened when we poached it. It separated a lot of it out. And the irony is that at the end of the day, we're going to have a lot less fat in the bacon jam. So we'll come back when this is done. Okay, so this is the doneness that we want. And you can see the fat that's left in there. Well, we're going to take care of that. And I'm going to move this over here. And I'm just going to scrape all of this stuff out. And I'm going to let this drain for a minute. And that's what we're left with the bacon bits. Sorry for the jiggliness. There we go. But we don't have 3 cameras here, so you get the idea. So I'm going to put this and set it aside, and I'm going to use this bacon or the bacon fat that I have underneath to caramelize the onions, which is what we're going to do next. So before I do the caramelization of the onions, I'm going to get the blueberries going, and I'm going to set my burner on about, I'm going to put it up full throttle. And I've got a bunch of wild blueberries, which I showed you at the beginning. And now I'm just going to fill it with a little bit of water, just so they're covered. As you can see, like that right there. And I'm going to heat these up. And as soon as it's bubbling, then I'm going to let the reduction go a little bit. And once they're softened, that's basically what you're looking for. Now, you don't have to use wild blueberries. You can use regular blueberries if they're in season, or you can use frozen blueberries, whatever you like. The idea is that you just use the blueberries. So that's what we're going to do, and then let's go next over to doing the caramelized onions. So while the blueberries are simmering, I'm going to take the bacon fat reserve that I had from the bacon. I'm going to let that heat up, and as soon as this has a chance to come up to temp a bit, I want it to sizzle when I put the onions in. So we're going to wait a sec, and I'm going to put a little bit of water in there, and as soon as I hear it pop, then I know that it is time to put in the onions. Alright, so the oil is at temp. And I'm now going to caramelize. So once I've got that up to temp, like that, I am going to reduce the temperature to about halfway. As you can see, it's not perfectly chopped. It doesn't matter. And I'm simply going to saute these until they become a nice golden brown. As soon as that happens, through the magic of video, I'll show you that in about 2 seconds. Alright, so here we are. It's about 20 minutes later. Once I got it going, I just lowered the heat. You have to be patient. It's something you want to hang out in the kitchen for. And I could go a little bit darker to do the caramelization with this bacon fat. I could also take this, set it aside with a sieve, and drain all the rest of the bacon fat out if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna put some Maggi in to the onions. And I'm doing it now because I want all the onions to absorb the Maggi. And I'm gonna throw some pepper in. Again, I have all the amounts in my recipes on my site. And that's so nice and dark and lovely. And now we'll just switch it out. And I'm going to take the blueberries, which I've softened up, and we're going to stew this. So I'm going to slow cook, and I'm going to put the onions in. And once I've done the onions, I'm going to take the bacon and put that in. 2 big ingredients. And the garlic, apple cider vinegar, and the Jack Daniels. There's actually a little bit more than what the recipe calls for, but that's because it's me. And that's a chipotle, sugar, and the balsamic. And I'm just going to let this cook on a low heat for about an hour. Yeah, about an hour. And we'll come back. It'll be worth it. Like this. And I'm going to let it cool. And you know what? Once this is cooled, you can put this in a jar and it'll keep in the fridge for a couple weeks. No problem. There you go. And that is your blueberry Jack Daniels bacon jam a la Kim. I hope you enjoy this. As I said, I'm gonna do a grilled cheese sandwich with this, believe it or not. And it is freaking amazing. Now, if you want a thicker consistency, just cook it a little bit longer on a lower heat, and that will make it a little bit, but you know, when this cools down, it's going to be pretty thick to begin with, so I don't think you're going to need to do that. But it's up to you. Whatever you like. And, you know, this is Jack Daniels blueberry bacon jam.